It really is a terrible thing to believe things that you don't understand, to hold opinions that you don't understand what's the basis for these. And it's a very deep, psychologically, it's a very deep thing to try to even explain why people do that. But you can't be satisfied when you do that, because it's, what do they call imposter syndrome? Is that what they call it? Because you don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you don't understand the position that you're advocating, then you're an imposter. It's the same as being a liar. And so liars are always afraid and tense that they're going to get called out, that they're going to get caught out, that they're going to get discovered, that they don't know what they're talking about. But when you know what you're talking about, you're solid. You can relax. You know, it doesn't matter if someone disagrees with you. That doesn't, it's water off a duck's back. It just rolls off. It doesn't matter. If someone disagrees, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, they disagree with your opinion, and the opinion that they are advocating that is in disagreement with yours is an unthought out opinion.
Okay.
They themselves haven't thought it out. It's just, this is the popular narrative, and it's different from what you're saying. And so I have the confidence of the backing of popularity.
Right.
But there's no thought process behind it. So if your position that you're taking is actually based on sound reasoning and factual information, you're solid. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a whole ocean of wrong people. They're wrong. And you can have the certainty. Like yaqeen, you have a certainty in the position that you have because you didn't reach it randomly.
Exactly.
I mean, the only thing that the tension that might have increased for you, or the stress that might have increased for you, and I hope it hasn't, but I'm sure that it probably has, is the extent to which you have found yourself the dissenting opinion.
Yes.
Among your own friend groups and your own maybe family and coworkers and general community. You're probably an outlier because most people just follow whatever the popular narrative is.
Yes.
It has become actually the only creative sector of entertainment at this point that's continuously producing content that people will watch.
Right.
Because nobody really cares about the movies that are coming out of Hollywood anymore. They can't produce anything worthwhile. Netflix has nothing to show. It's all useless. If the actual official entertainment industry actually started producing something worth watching, maybe these people would get out of political discussions. Because it's just a time pass. When there is a sort of unified, absolutist, sort of totalistic, and very synchronized and orchestrated narrative that everyone is on board with, or even if there's two, there's the one narrative and then there's the opposition to that narrative, and these are now the official positions. Like say Mamdani.
Yeah.
Like say with Mamdani in New York. There's the one narrative that he's the savior of New York City, and then there's the narrative that he is now the
Taking it to the gutters.
Yeah, New York is going to go to hell.
Yeah.
He's the devil, or he's whatever. He's communist jihadist. Like these words can be put together. But anyway, so and there's complete uniformity on both sides. That this is the right narrative and this is the right narrative. That tells you that both of those narratives are lies. When there's complete uniformity of conformity, uniformity of conformity to a particular narrative, it's a lie. And when it's completely orchestrated and calibrated and synchronized and pushed, then it's obviously lies. And it's specifically on both sides of that argument. Both of them are trying to do the same thing, which is to keep you from knowing what's really going on, and to keep you invested in this story that we're telling you of a conflict between good and bad, and the people of the light and the people of the dark and whatnot. All of this ridiculous rhetoric. This is all they're doing. It's entertainment. This is why, to a certain extent, this is why it's been taken as entertainment, because that's what it is. It's theater. Politics has turned into theater, and now it's being treated the same way that the entertainment genres are treated. So with Sudan and UAE, obviously it's far more complex than anything that you're seeing in these popular narratives. And in any popular narrative, there are grains of truth in it that are completely misrepresented,
Yeah.
and then many truths that are overlooked or completely covered up. So whenever there is a completely orchestrated and unified and conformed with narrative across all different sectors of the media, obviously this is a propaganda campaign. These are some of the telltale signs of a propaganda campaign. And again, like what you said, it doesn't mean that we're going to argue with people.
Yeah.
Don't break up relationships with your friends or your family or your coworkers or your acquaintances and so forth just to argue about politics. Because anyway, these are already people who don't take politics seriously.
Exactly.
You have to understand. It's not worth. It's like arguing. It's like breaking up a friendship over someone liking Iron Man more than Batman.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense because they're not taking it seriously.
Yeah.
And they're going to be very emotional. And that's also a sign of someone who doesn't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
When you get very emotional about your opinion being challenged, it's because you haven't thought out. It's exactly what I said before. Because you're afraid that you're going to get caught out as a liar. Because
Right.
you're an imposter presenting an opinion that you can't back up.
Right.
So don't put people on the spot.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, all of their ranting is to no effect.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. This is why even though I have had and have expressed that a desire for example, the GCC governments to do more about countering these very negative and toxic black propaganda campaigns that are being waged against them on social media. It just rolls off. They don't care because they know these people are of no impact. They have no power to actually influence what's happening. So just
Yeah.
don't ever just argue with people.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you want to filter out people who don't take any of these things seriously, and we do that on Middle Nation all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I remove people and block people continuously from the channel based on comments that show, because I want a quality audience, not a quantity. I don't care if the numbers go up or down. It doesn't matter to me at all. I want people who will genuinely benefit from this, meaning. Like for example, the whole debate culture, and I know I've talked about it a number of times, and this also ties into what we're talking about now with arguing with people. I'll present my understanding, and then this is the part where you start. Now it's your turn to use your brain. I'll present this. Now you use your brain, and you analyze what I've said. You evaluate what I've said. And then you, on your own, evaluate what other people are saying, and then this is the part where you use judgment.
Yeah.
Not that now we'll get into a gladiator ring, and I will intellectually, verbally assault this one, and he will verbally assault me, and then whoever wins, then that's the one that you believe. This is retarded. I'm sorry. This is not and I mean that literally in the literal sense of the word. This is a very warped way of trying to determine what's true. You have to use your own judgment. This is very passive when you want people to debate so that you don't have to use judgment, so that the issue of who's right and who's wrong will be determined according to who won the debate,
Yeah.
rather than you having to actually exert some kind of energy of your own intellectual muscles to try to figure it out yourself, and to also review what other people are saying. So like Middle Nation, of course, like I said, I don't do the debates thing. This is a very Western recreation, and it's I think disrespectful of actual intellectual discourse. So the same applies with arguments. You put your even in your comment section, when you for the brothers and sisters who've been participating in the challenge and have social media accounts and have been putting things out, you don't need to argue with people in the comment section.
Yes.
Just put out what you're going to say,
Yes.
and then the audience, the viewers, whatever. This is the part where you use your brain, and you decide, oh, that makes sense, And because if there are people who can't use their minds in that way, then they're not important anyway in this discussion.
Because it bears no consequence.
Yeah, it bears no consequence. You're talking about trying to convince unserious people, so there's no point. Yes, and you're actually supporting the whole intellectually oppressive system
Yeah.
that, especially in the West, that people are under. You're actually participating in that. You're, what's the word, perpetuating that. You're perpetuating that. Because you're contributing to the noise, you know, that prevents anyone from thinking. And that's part of the whole cover-up. The noise is part of the cover-up. They're trying to muffle the sound of truth by all of the noise. And as much as you might think that, yeah, but I'm using my voice for the truth, not in this manner.
Yeah.
Not in this manner. Not through arguments and fighting and trying to sort of drown other people out.
Yeah.
And getting so emotional, because I mean, you all see it yourselves. I'm sure that you've seen over the last 100 days, those of you who have participated in your comment sections,
Yeah.
very volatile people, very volatile, often very crude, unstable. They come across very unstable people. Because I mean, there's so many things that have to happen. Like okay, you can have a thought in your head. But like even like without talking about online, there's a thought in your head, and then it has to come out into words, or there's a feeling rather. We should say that there's a feeling, and then it has to be articulated in some kind of an insult or some kind of a whatever, and then you have to think of the words, and then you have to say the words. There's these processes, but now there's even the added thing of you have to actually type it out. You have to do all. There's so many things that should have prevented you from saying what you just said.
Yes.
If you were a reasonable person, a stable, emotionally stable, thinking individual, there are so many things that should have prevented you from pressing that send button or that post button, publish button, and it didn't. So okay, that I already know everything I need to know about how serious or how unserious you are as a person, and how all of this is just habit for you. You're just these are all just impulses.
Yeah.
You're just someone who's following impulses. There was a concern. Maybe concern is too big of a word, but there was a consideration that was expressed to me from the Middle Nation team. Not that they were taking this position, but they were saying that this is something that I should consider with the Middle Nation channel, because we have a lot of non-Muslim people in the audience. We have, I don't know what percentage obviously, but I know that there are a number of people who are non-Muslims in the audience, and that the idea of the Quranic psychological decolonization and the sort of very, very Quran-centric type of content that I'm doing with Brother Sheikh Turabi might be alienating for these people, or estranging to them in some way. And the response to that is they need to get used to it. You need to get used to it. If you're a non-Muslim and you get uncomfortable about Muslims talking about the world and world affairs and geopolitics and understanding this world through an Islamic lens, you need to get over that.
Yeah.
Because your era is coming to an end. And this is the direction that the world is moving. Alhamdulillah. And we will discuss matters according to our own frameworks. And you need to get used to it. Your domination of discourse, your domination of imposing your paradigms upon the rest of the world, those days are over. And whether it's going to be China using their own paradigms and people and them discussing the world according to their own frameworks, they will do that. Or whether it's Muslims discussing the world according to our own frameworks, we're going to do that. And we've been forced to deal with your frameworks and your paradigms for all these years, and we're done with that. So you should get used to it. Because also, we're right more often than you have been. Our frameworks actually work. Our paradigms actually work. The foundation of our knowledge, the Quran and Sunnah, has enabled us to be accurate and to be correct far more than your paradigms, because anyway, your paradigms are always actually just for the purpose of covering up the truth.
Yeah.
Because you should also understand that or acknowledge, recognize for your own self that very likely, almost inevitably, especially if you're coming from the West, you are damaged. by the propaganda that you are continuously exposed to on a daily basis from the cradle to the grave. This has if you have been somehow spared from the damage, then it's miraculous. I don't know anyone who hasn't been damaged, including myself, who hasn't been damaged by the propaganda that you're exposed to or that you are that is inflicted upon you. And one of the first things that you need to do is to try to heal from that damage. You have to try to undo that damage as much as you can. Because otherwise it's just like you come into the chat, for example, and say, and there are things that you can say when you come in the chat which just looks like a gaping wound in your brain. You're just coming to the chat and saying, everyone, hey, look at this giant gaping wound in my brain. And I'm not blaming you that you have it, or if you have it, because I know you didn't do it to yourself. It was done to you. But you need to understand that it has to be healed, it has to be fixed, it has to be repaired, the damage has to be undone, and that's a process. There's an immaturity that is imposed upon people in the West that they you know, it's like putting a heavy weight on your head so you can't grow, to stunt your growth. They do this in the West. So I don't blame anyone for having these traits or these qualities, or not knowing how to act right, not knowing how to behave, or what have you. But we don't allow people to be disruptive, and we're not going to lower the level of our discourse and our discussion to meet the needs of someone who is you know, new and unfamiliar and who hasn't done the work. You know, I mean, I'm saying this because, yes, what you just said and what that brother, or I'm not sure, sister, just said about this is the normal etiquette when you join a group. Okay, but not everyone is that mature to even understand that, and that's happened to us. So we certainly won't discriminate against somebody because they've been psychologically and intellectually damaged and had their progress and their maturity undermined by the society that they come from. And we will try to be patient if you're there sincerely. But then there's the other type who want to inflict that damage, who are just coming for the purpose of trying to inflict more of that damage. What's been done to them, they want to now do it to everybody else. And they're just there to disrupt. So we have to make a distinction. And this is why we made it that you have to request permission to be able to speak, with the assumption that okay, this is the other thing. We're making an assumption that you will come to the group and look at it for a while before you request to speak. We assume that you will want to familiarize yourself at least enough to know the general tone in the group before you will, not that you will just find Middle Nation on Telegram and then immediately request to join so that you can speak.
Exactly.
Because you can peruse it without speaking at all.
Yes.
Everything is there publicly to view.
Everything's open.
Everything is open to view. But you just request just to join so that you can speak. There's often not necessarily even going to be a need to speak. And I would ask you not to request to speak unless you have a genuine question.
Exactly.
Or you have some expertise that you can share with us. And expertise doesn't mean that you will have memorized the talking points of popular narratives.